So, Natasha Denona just announced her mini Triochrome palette. The first Triochrome was 3 rows of a basic color topped off with a multichromatic shade in the middle. These shades were pretty muted compared to indie multichromes, but that's not what they were trying to be. I heard somewhere that the Triochrome was supposed to stand for the trio of chrome shades in the middle, and it made sense. Even then, those shades were never the point of the palette because to me, the mattes are the selling point of this palette. And it looks to be the same with this palette because the first blue looks so unique to anything that I have, the way it looks in her video anyways. But the rest of the shades aren't selling this to me, plus it's not magnetic and it's freaking hard to get this out of the palette, so I'm not sure if I want to go through the hell that is depotting them. For now, I'm going to try to dupe this one out and see where that gets me. The first shade that I want to dupe is Voltaic, a matte medium royal blue. For this, I grabbed C3 from the Norbina Volume 2 palette. This blue looks very muted on their swatches, but on their picture it looks very vivid, so I wanted something that was in the middle. But I won't know until I see it in real life. The other shade that I wanted to try is Chaos from the Urban Decay Electric palette. And yes, this shade is still going strong. I am amazed that it looks so good, honestly. It's a bit lighter than the Norbina shade, so I'm going to pick that one over the Norbina shade. Because there's already going to be darker blues in here, and the lighter one isn't as close to this one. So next it's going to be the Shifty shade Strike, described as a multichrome blue, purple, and green. My first contender is going to be the Venus 347. It's from last year's Halloween collection. And you can see that it has a black base, but it has those colors. It's like an aqua shifting to purple. Next, this is Messier. It's another shade by Duping Cosmetics, and it's so spot on when it comes to the shifts. The problem is that it has a very warm base. If this had more of a cool tone base, I think it would have fit very perfectly, because you can see it goes from green to blue all the way to pink. But yeah, that base really kills it. Next, this is Galaxy from the Nessa Myrix. It's a depotted shade from the Light Work Volume 3 palette. And this is a black base multichrome. This is very comparable to the shade Oculus from Cleona. It goes from teal to blue to violet all the way to pink. And this is one of those times where this is too intense to be that shade. I'm not trying to diss the other shades, I'm just saying that the multichromes that Natasha Denona does are a lot more muted in comparison to black base multichromes. And that's a good thing. That's something that sets them apart. And finally, this is Next to You by Luxy Beauty. I know this one is a lot more muted and finely milled, but I think it will also be close to the Natasha Denona shade. I think the one at the top and the one at the bottom are the closest that I could get to the real shade, but I'm going to choose the Davina shade, just because I'm feeling it right now. Next, I'm going to try to dupe Stratos, a matte dark royal blue. My initial choice was Backstage by Colourpop, but upon swatching it, this is a lot lighter than I remembered, so I'm not going to pick this one. Next, this is Winter Wear, another shade by Colourpop. It's a depot from the Muppets palette. And I'm already liking this one more because it has more depth. This is going to be the darkest shade in the palette, so I really need something that's going to bring the contrast in there. Next, this is Lake by Gleminatrix Cosmetics. It's a depot from their Silent Night palette, which came out a few years ago. I dropped this shade a while ago and I swear the formulation changed. Have you guys ever had that happen, like you repress something and the formula changes? Anyways, I'm going to pick the one in the middle, the Colourpop shade for this one, because it fits the bill. The next shade is Overcast, described as a matte light periwinkle blue. For this one, I only had one shade in mind, which fit the bill, and this is Daydreamer by Pheromones. It's just a beautiful light blue, It brings a lot of lightness into a look, so I thought it would work great in here. Next, I'm going to dupe Aero, a metallic light silver blue. This is Flatbush by Colourpop from the Nets palette. It's one of the palest silvers that I own, but it still has a base. My next contender is Angels by Danessa Myricks, another depot from one of their Like World palettes. I've used this one a lot in many palettes, and it's because it's just a sparkly white, it's so perfect. I think the first shade is going to look more like Danessa's version because she mentions it's a silver and it looks way too smooth to be sparkly, but I like spark better. After all, this is about duping the vibes, not about duping the formula. This is not the most colorful palette ever, but I gotta give it to Natasha Denona because she actually takes risks. What about you guys? Are you intrigued by this palette or not at all? Right now what I'm thinking is I would have considered this if they had made it with the queens that are compatible with the larger palettes. That way my little completionist brain would have been like, oh, I could have the fourth row the way they intended. Having a mini queen that is not even magnetic is a good way to make me not that interested, but I don't know, I'll look for reviews and then make up my mind. So yeah, that'll be all for me for now. Thank you for watching and have a lovely day.